Hi friends, it's Kate. So I helped a friend move some stuff out of their flooded basement this week, and it involved doing a lot of stairs, which is a little tough on my knees right now because I'm recovering from some knee strain, some tendonitis. But my massage therapist also pointed out to me that in some of my daily movements, I am not recruiting my glute muscles enough. So I was thinking maybe it might be kind of nice to do a glute emphasized class to not only give you a little bit of a kick in the butt, but also to strengthen and then stretch those muscles. I don't know that I've ever done anything specifically glute focused in the past, but I do teach a lot of poses that involve our gluteus maximus, which is the big muscle on the back side of the pelvis that draws the legs straight out behind. But you also have a medius and minimus on the sides here. And medius is known mostly for doing external rotation and abduction, so drawing the leg away from the midline, lifting it straight up like that. So I figured I'd pick out some poses that I have kind of floating in my brain, and we could do some of them today. Other than that, I'm trying to think of props that we might need. So I've got my blocks underneath me already on the highest height so that my knees aren't super flexed because that still is giving me some pain. I do think that you should have 2 blocks or something that's going to bring the floor up closer to you like a chair. I might use a strap depending on whether or not we're going to do a balancing pose. We'll see where the class takes us. But any other props that you'd like to have for your practice, knowing that it's going to be a Vinyasa flow format, so probably loosely based on Ashtanga, have those handy. All that being said, let's get started. So, I always like to start with seated meditation. If another posture works for you, please go ahead and take it. I'm going to sit with most of my weight down through my hips. So this is almost like sitting in a chair with some extra deflection. So find what works for you. I'm going to take my first 2 fingers here, my thumb and my index finger, and just lightly touch them ever so slightly. So if you ever see this position here, this is a mudra or a hand position, a yogic hand pose. What we're thinking about doing is this very slightest touch that you can manage between your index finger and your thumb. Okay? And so this is a point of meditation, is this pressure, this feather light pressure. And if your mind wanders, sometimes you'll find that they come apart, that they're not touching anymore. When my mind wanders, I start to notice that I start to press. So it's an indication, another way to focus your breath, focus your mind. So you can follow the breath, follow the pressure between your fingertips, whatever works for you today. Maybe there's something else that you'd like to pay attention to, like a sensation that the room or the environment that you're in is bringing to you, be it sound, smell, or feel. And we're just going to drop into our breath. So notice how your breath is moving today. Is it shallow, or do you feel your breaths are deep and full? How's your mind moving? Is it easily distracted? Sometimes we call that monkey mind. Or is it soft and settled? And of course, because I'm teaching outside, there are other people who are enjoying our beautiful summer weather. So when they get loud, I do my best to edit them out, but you may still hear some laughter, some talking. But do your best to focus on your breath and on your body. Staying focused and still. And if your mind wanders off, just bring it back. To this moment, this place. So when you're ready, you can slowly feel the eyes begin to open again if they were closed. Coming back into your body and into this place if you happen to have wandered off. So we'll roll through the shoulders just to get started. Got some kids having fun in the back. It's a nice day. I'm just glad that we don't have any chainsaws or lawnmowers going. So I like to hear kind of those joyful sounds during summer. It's really sweet. So we're going to get started with some A series and B series, I think. Maybe some C's, we'll see. So find your way up to standing, however you need to get there. And we'll move our props out of the way. So we're going to stand at the top of our mat, big toes touching, heels slightly apart. You can bend through the knees. Notice how your weight is being distributed into your feet today. And then from here, relax the arms and the shoulders down. So try to find balance in between the front and back of your feet. You want to be nice and level. Bring the hands to heart center. Take a moment here, breathing all the way in, all the way out, and then release the arms. Inhale, they're going to come up overhead. Press the hands together over your heart, and then exhale, come all the way down into your own lap. Take a moment here, find some space. So my hamstrings are pretty tight today, so I'm going to give myself some extra space, bending my knees and allowing my chest to come down onto my thighs. All right. So then from here, hands to shins, hips, or out to the side, whatever you choose. We're going to lift the chest just enough so we have a flat back, long back of the neck. And then exhale, hands come down, step back, and move through your vinyasa, whatever that happens to look like. Now, like I said, I don't know how many I'm going to do today, but I'll do a couple. So to start, shoulders are right over your wrists. You can drop your knees if you need to. And we're going to come down through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale up through either Cobra, which is very low, leaving the low ribs down on your mat, or upward facing dog, lifting all the way up, soft eyes gazing down your cheekbones towards the floor, and then lifting back to downward facing dog. Taking your time. Big inhale, big exhale. And at the bottom of the exhale, stepping up in between the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, tuck the chin. Then from here, bend the knees a little bit more. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands above your heart. And exhale, Samasthiti. Again, big inhale here. Exhale, release. Inhale, hands come up. Exhale, we come all the way down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down, step back. Move through your vinyasa. Now try to step back with the opposite foot each time. So that's another point, essentially, of meditation for your practice, is being present and counting which foot you're on, left or right. Couple of big breaths here, all the way in, all the way out. Bottom of your exhale, stepping up in between the hands. Inhale, half lifting. Exhale, forward folding, tucking the chin. Then from here, bending the knees, inhaling, coming all the way up. Hands above the heart. Exhale, Samasthiti. Let's do one more of those. Big inhale here. Exhale, release. Inhale, arms come up over the heart. So you notice I say heart instead of head. And that's because I want you to keep your hands just slightly forward. So your heart is a little bit further forward than your head, right? You can see that from my profile. So if I were to say hands over the head, see what that does to my spine? See how that changes my shoulder blades coming together behind me? Versus hands over my heart. See how my shoulders can open up across my back? So it's not as, what you might say, visually pleasing to have a straight line, but it allows your back to flatten out, keep your shoulder blades nice and soft along the back of your rib cage. So this is the action we're looking for here. Then we'll exhale, come all the way down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down, step back. Move through your vinyasa, nice and easy. Excellent. Big inhale here. Big exhale. And then we're going to step the feet up in between the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then from here, bend the knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands above the heart. And exhale, Samasthiti. So we're going to switch to B series. So big inhale here. Exhale, we're going to bend the knees deeply. Now, one of the things that I do that I have to practice not doing is allowing my knees to come further forward than my toes. So for a lot of people, this is fine. Apparently for my body, it's been fine. But because I've changed my routine of the kinds of exercise I'm doing, that's about as far as my knees can come forwards. So in order to achieve my pose, I need to start recruiting my glutes more. So one of the things I need to watch is being able to see my toes over my knees, allowing my backside to come further back. So this is going to recruit your glutes more when we're coming up and sitting down. All right? So from here, we're coming into Utkatasana, or fierce pose, sometimes called chair pose. So make sure you can see your big toes over your knees. You're going to press your hands together and then lift up for a small back bend just in the upper back. One more big inhale here. Exhale, come up and over the top. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold, hands down, step back. Move through your vinyasa. Take your time. Now from here, we're going to turn our entire leg out. So starting at the hip joint, we're going to turn the left foot out, but using our actual leg. So I'll show you on my right side so you can see a little better. See that? So my foot isn't turning, my entire leg is turning. So we're turning the left leg out. Right foot is going to come up and behind the right hand. And then See how when I come forward, my hip comes forward a little bit? Now I'm gonna reach my hip back. Inhale, come up for warrior one. So if I did everything right, if I have my spacing for my pose right, my hips should be parallel to the short edge of my mat. If they're not, back leg comes forward and to the outside just a little bit. So once I'm here, I want to be able to see my big toe on the inside edge of my front knee. And then inhale, lift up through the heart. Warrior one. And then exhale, come right back down. Step back. Move through Vinyasa. Then from here, right leg turns out, so not just the toes, the whole leg coming from the thigh. And then left foot comes forward behind the left hand. Left hip reaches back as the knee reaches forward. So we have two actions happening at the same time here. And then as you come up, hips should be parallel to the short edge of your mat. And then press the hands together. Lift up through the heart. Big stretch through the side of the body, the hip flexor, down through the heel. And then we'll exhale, come right back down. Step back, move through your Vinyasa. Then from the bottom of the exhale, feet come up underneath the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then from here, bend the knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Too fierce. So, sitting back, watching your knees, making sure they're not coming forwards over your toes. Lifting up through the heart. And then exhale, Samasthiti. So I don't know about you, but I can feel a large difference in my pose because I was doing that pose mostly with my knees before, coming really far forwards. Can you see the difference here? This is all in my knee joint, all of the flexion in my knee joint. This is almost neutral versus here. But I want you to pay attention too. We're still dropping the tailbone down. So not letting the tailbone flare up. It's still dropping down, right? It's just more activation here. Fabulous. Okay, so we're going to do another one of those. So hands to heart center, big inhale here. Exhale, bending the knees, allowing your butt to come back. And then inhale, lifting up, making sure you can still see your toes in front of your knees. Lift up through the heart. Tailbone reaching down. Low ribs coming in, knitting together. And then lift up and over, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands down, step back. And go through your Vinyasa, keeping track of your opposite foot. Exhale, lifting all the way back. Okay, from our downward facing dog, right leg, the whole leg is turning out this time. Left foot is coming up behind the left hand. Left hip reaches back. Inhale, coming up. Make sure you can see your big toe on the inside edge of your left knee here. Hips are roughly parallel to the short edge of the mat. And we lift up through warrior one. Ooh. And try to hold on to your balance. My goodness. And then exhale, come all the way down. Step back. Move through your Vinyasa. Do the other side. So this time, entire left leg turns out. So I want you to make sure you're doing it from the hip so that you can really feel the glute med start to work. And then right foot comes up and behind the right hand. Right knee comes forward, right hip comes back. Inhale, lift up. Watch your knee to make sure it's coming out to the outside edge, almost towards your pinky toe, but still maintaining pressure across the whole foot. Warrior one. Shoulders down. And then exhale, come down. Step back and move through your Vinyasa. big breath here. All the way in, all the way out. Step the feet up in between the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then from here, bending the knees deeply, allowing your hips to shift back. Inhale, come up for fierce. Dropping the tailbone down, lifting your heart. And then exhale, Samastitihi. All right, so we're going to do work some poses here. So we're going to take the front foot, our right foot, step it back, and pivot. So you can either stay facing the top of your mat or not. I like to do right foot and then left foot, or as you're looking at me, left foot here. So we're going to get one of our blocks handy. So we're going to do some poses here. So we're going to start out with triangle pose. So heel to heel alignment here. Both legs are straight. We're going to take a big inhale, hands to the hips, and shift the front hip straight back as far as it'll go. Mine is pretty tight, so it won't go that far today. And then rotate the shoulders open, grow the spine as long as possible, and then allow the arms to open up to the side. Big inhales and exhales here. Hey, honey. Hey, honey bunch. And then from here, we're going to inhale, stay on this side, and bend the front leg. As we draw it forward, you might have to creep your back foot out just a little bit. But again, we want to be able to see our big toe on the inside edge of our front knee, strong energy down through the outside edge of the foot and the back. And you want to be mindful now, instead of tilting the hips, they're sliding forwards in space. See that? Sliding forwards in space. So we'll inhale, open up to warrior 2. Taking a couple breaths here. And then, staying in this pose, we're going to take the front hand and bring it down. So either our elbow is coming down onto our knee, or our hand is coming down onto our block. So I'm starting to slip a little, so I'm just going to step into the grass here. My mat is super hot, so you don't want to stand directly on it. There we go. So make sure you're pressing the outside edge of your knee here into your arm, so it's not falling in. And we're drawing the front hip straight back, so you should feel a lot of activation in this hip here. Then from the back hand is going to inhale, reach up towards the top of the mat, and rotate open to the side. Gaze is down past your underarm, maybe even towards your toes behind you. And then from here, we'll inhale and come up, pivot the feet, and we'll do that all on the other side. So we're going to start out with triangle pose. I'm just going to step forward so you can see me a little more clearly. So heel to heel alignment here. Stances may be a little bit short, depending on how you like to do your triangle. And the hips are going to tilt. So we're going to drop the front hip forwards, see how much space we might have. Hey, honey boy. And then, once the hips don't want to tilt any further, we're going to grow the spine as long as possible, rotate the shoulders open, and lift your arms. If that doesn't throw you off. If it throws you off, leave them down. No big deal. Then when you're ready, we'll inhale and come up. And now instead of tilting the hips, they're just going to slide forward in space. So we're going to bend our front knee. I think I'm going to need to step off my mat one more time to do that. So bend the front knee. Draw the hips forward in space. Watch your knee so that it's not coming into the inside edge. Dropping both hips down. Firm energy down through the back side of the back foot. And inhale, open up through the arms. Then from here, front hand is going to come down either so the elbow is coming down onto the knee, or the hand comes directly down onto the block. Knee is still shifting forwards. Front hip is still reaching back. So you're going to start to feel a lot of engagement through the back side of the glute here. And then reach your hand forwards and rotate the chest open to the side. From here, because we're back at the top of the mat, we're just going to bring the hands down and come through Vinyasa. Go step back, move through, whatever that happens to look like for you. So now we're going to step up to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then from here, bend the knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands to high prayer. And exhale, Samastiti. So we're going to try balancing pose. So make sure you have both of your blocks in front of you, or maybe the seat of a chair, just something that's easy to grab onto. And now from here, we're going to work towards coming into Warrior 3 and Half Moon Balance. So I might even combine this. If you've got a strap, I might do everything all in one today. So we're going to draw our right leg up and slowly peel the weight out of the foot. And so what's going to be key is standing up nice and tall here. So I'll turn so you can see this front part. So stay facing your blocks if you can. But what we're trying to do is stay up and out of our standing leg here. We don't want to release it and stretch out the muscle body here. We want to keep the muscle body here engaged. So we're lifting, drawing the knee in, giving it a squeeze. And now from here, if you'd like, you can bring the strap down and around the ball of the foot. We're going to extend it out in front of us. If we can maintain our balance, well, that's always the trick. Let's see here. I don't know if I've got it in me today, but we'll extend out to the side, or excuse me, in front of us. If you can manage, maybe opening the leg up a little bit. Try not to let it throw you all the way off. I kind of wonder if there's a full moon. I'm all over the place. Inhale, come back to center. And now, if you're still facing your blocks, what we're going to do is let the leg hover just enough. We're going to let it slide through the flexed foot back behind us. And as the leg lifts behind us, we're going to come forwards into Warrior 3. So hips are parallel to the floor here. Okay? Lifting the leg back behind us. Now, when you're ready, you should start feeling your glute med right about now. If you don't feel it yet, you're gonna in a second. So when you're ready, we're gonna stack the hips. So turning out your standing leg. So the same action we used when we were doing our Warrior 1 pose in our B series, we're now using it here to turn our legs out, stacking one hip on top of the other. And then we're going to get light in the right hand and see if you can stack the shoulders. And then when you're ready, allow both hands to come back down. You can allow both feet to come back down and soften into a forward fold. All right, other side. So we're going to start out, I'm going to try facing my blocks this time. No, I'm not. I'm going to turn so you can see me. So, from right here, what we're going to do is draw our knee up, see if we can balance. Feeling this side of the hip reaching towards the midline, so it's not falling out. Then when you're ready, allow the knee to come out to the side, wrap the strap around the ball of the foot. Of course, if you can do yogi big toe hold and that's comfortable for you, feel free to do that too. So from here, extending out through the leg, standing up nice and tall. And then without allowing this to shift out to the side too much, it has to shift a little to counterweight the balance, but we'll open the leg out to the side. Low ribs coming in, whole core is engaged. Inhale, back to center. We'll release the strap. Flex your foot very slowly, allow it to come through center, and then as it comes back, we're going to come forward. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. And we're going to come down onto our blocks or whatever prop you have in front of you. At this point, both hips are parallel to the short edge of your mat, or they're both parallel to the floor, whichever makes more sense to you. Starting to feel your glute med. All right, so now from here, we're going to stack the hips one on top of the other and slowly see if we can open up through the shoulders. Now, if you start to fall backwards, it means your leg is too far behind you. And if you're really having trouble balancing in this pose, you can back up so that your foot that's hovering is pressing into a wall. Oh gosh. And that will give you more stability so that you can figure out the right alignment, and then you can slowly come away from the wall. So I like to press the ball of my foot into the wall and then lift, flexing the foot so that I can find my alignment and work with balance. And then when you're ready, both hands come down, both legs come down nice and slow, coming into a soft forward fold here. Good job. That was a lot of work. Big inhales and exhales here. Wonderful. So if you're facing the top of your mat, you're just going to move your blocks out of the way and bring your hands down and come through Vinyasa. Wonderful. So from here, we're going to come into a soft pyramid pose. So our right leg's going to come forward first. You can step the back leg forward and to the outside just a little bit. You can turn your back toes out. If you have your blocks handy, you might want to bring them back underneath you. And so what we're looking to do, if you can see how my hips are aligned here, because I brought my foot forward, my right hip is reaching forwards. So what I want to do is draw my front hip straight back. Maybe it even needs to lift just a tiny bit. There we go. And lift my chest forward. So I can look back and see, but what I'm trying to do is get the back part of my pelvis level and both sets of hips, left and right, parallel to the front edge of the mat. So just take a couple breaths here. Going to give us a nice stretch through the outside edge of the front leg, maybe even up into the IT band and coming into the glutes just a little bit. And then once you're ready, you can slowly work towards coming down. If you need to find a little bit of a bend in your knee, do that. We're going to relax all the way down as much as we can. So nice and soft, so you can let the alignment soften here. It doesn't have to be so exact. And then from here, I'm going to bring my hands back up onto my block, step forward with the back foot, and step back with the front foot. So here I am again, back toes slightly turned out. Nice space in between the feet, reaching forwards with my chest, reaching back with the front hip. Trying to find the correct alignment here and then coming forwards. Finding a nice stretch with the correct alignment before we relax into something a little softer. And then when you're ready, work your way down, relaxing your hands, relaxing the pose. And then we'll move the blocks out of the way. Hands down, step back, move through your vinyasa. And then we'll come all the way down onto our mats, onto our butts. So we're going to extend the legs out in front of us. Inhale, lift up through the heart, lift the arms above, and exhale, come forwards into our soft forward fold. Tuck the chin, allow the back of the neck to be nice and long. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and come up, reach both arms up, and relax. So now we're going to come into a little bit more of some glute stretches. So big one is pigeon pose. That's our main gluteus stretch. I like to do modified version, so we're going to walk through that today. So because I have sensitive knees, this is the way that I teach this pose. So we're looking for a right angle on the front leg. We're going to do one leg and then the other. So shin bone parallel to the short edge of the mat, thigh bone parallel to the long edge of the mat. Now if it's already uncomfortable to have your ankle coming up this close to your chest through the rotation, you might want to sit up on a block. Right? So sitting up nice and high. So we're going to reach the other leg back and behind us. I don't know if I can come down. We'll see. Oh, yeah. All right. So I have some sensitivity on the inside edge, medial edge of my knee right here. So actually having a weight here is a little bit uncomfortable. So I have my mat and my blanket down. But if you have more pain, put some more cushion under there. All right. So now from here, what we're going to do is imagine taking the front hip and folding it into this one here. Or imagine taking it and trying to touch the floor. So either way, we're going to take both the shoulders as well, face them towards your knee, and work towards coming into a soft forward fold. So we're finding internal rotation on the leg extended behind us and external rotation here on the leg in front of us. Deep breaths all the way in and all the way out. This is one of those poses that gets more intense the longer you stay in it. So take your time. Adjust up or down using props. Adjusting your pose however you need to in order to make it comfortable. Now when you're ready, we'll inhale and come up, and you can bring the back leg forward and switch, or just turn to face the other direction, which I think is what I'm going to do today. So here we are. Same thing here. If you need a little bit of a lift underneath your hip, make sure you provide that. Extend your leg out behind you. And we're looking for shin bone parallel to the short edge, thigh bone parallel to the long edge. And again, taking the front hip, or I should say the back hip this time, The leg extended back behind us, rolling it forwards and working towards coming down into a forward fold. Now you'll see I have a big difference between my two sides. Very normal. So just stay wherever you need to stay. Sometimes you need to lift up and set back down because sometimes your muscle gets caught underneath you. And work towards finding some place that's comfortable and sustainable for a couple of breaths. Deep breaths all the way in, all the way out. Again, finding internal rotation on the back leg, external rotation in the front. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and come up. Draw the back leg forwards. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop out to the side. Sitting up nice and tall. If you need to, you can put some props underneath the knees. I'm going to because I know they're sensitive lately. There we go. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhaling, coming forwards into your own lap. Prabhata Konasana or bound angle pose. Taking a couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale and come up. See if you can draw your knees together without using your arms. And from here, we're gonna sit up, roll all the way down, and down onto our back. Draw the knees in, give them a squeeze. From here, we're going to put our hands on our knees, make like we're drawing circles. Make sure you're rolling on the outside edge of the hip as much as you can, massaging the muscles there. And then from here, we're going to hold on to the right leg, extend the left leg down. And we're going to take the right knee across the midline, but you might want to have a prop ready to catch it. So we draw it across the midline and the opposite hand. I like to have my block on the highest height to catch the knee. So both shoulders down, maybe extending the arm out to the side on the opposite side and allowing your gaze to follow. You want to feel this at the middle of the back. So if you're feeling it a little bit lower, you want to come up and away from the stretch a little bit. Holding your low ribs in. So this is constant. Always holding the low ribs in. Then then from here, inhale, come back through center. Draw the knees in, give them a squeeze. The other side. So allowing the right leg this time to straighten out, drawing the left knee and the right hand across the midline. Coming into our supine spinal twist. And then we'll inhale, come back to center, draw the knees in, give them a squeeze, roll from side to side. And then when you're ready, we'll come into Shavasana. So if you'd like, you can take your blocks and put them underneath the knees, which softens across the hip joint. But if you have a different variation that you prefer, find whatever works for you today and settle in. Taking some deep breaths. All the way in, all the way out. Releasing any thoughts you had about the practice today. Releasing any tension that's left over in your body. And releasing whatever control you might still have over your breath. Surrendering to gravity. Surrendering to the pose. If your mind wanders off, just bring it back into this moment and this place. Taking your time. When you're ready, if you'd like, remember you can always stay here as long as you wish. But if you're ready and you'd like to end class with me, you can start to find small movements in fingers and toes, wrist or ankle circles, roll of the head, stretch the arms, whatever helps you feel at home in your body. And then whenever you feel ready, you can slowly roll off to one side. Doesn't matter which. Taking your time. And then slowly work your way up to seated. So I hope that you enjoyed class today. It gives you something new to be mindful of in your poses. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. So as always, thank you very much for practicing with me today. Take care. Namaste.